Welcome to MojoTalks, and this is WatchClub, the show where we break down the biggest stories on TV. I am your host, and today I am joined by Rebecca, the most famous voiceover artist at WatchMojo. So Rebecca, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
And if you guys are watching the show, then you want a big recap on Westworld Season 2, Episode 4, The Riddle of the Sphinx, which was written by Gina Atwater and Jonathan Nolan, and directed by showrunner Lisa Joy. It was her directorial debut, and a lot of people are actually calling this perhaps the best episode of the series.
That's high praise.
It is very high praise, yeah. There are a lot of reveals in this one, lots of big happenings.
I don't even know where to start.
It's pretty crazy, right? Yeah. But let's start with our favorite moments. So I think I speak for both of us when I say the scenes with William and his stepdad were pretty amazing.
Yes.
Especially in my opinion, the opening scene where it's just the camera above the record player to start and then does a full 360 pan around the office.
Record players, we're bringing them back in like whatever year this is.
Hey, vintage is cool, I guess. And it was like very modern and retro looking.
Yeah.
But that's besides the point. It's very cool, like 360 shot. And what really, something that reminded me of season 1 was basically the interactions with William. It was like the same thing over and over again. And it reminded me a lot of season 1 when the show first started, that the days seemed to happen exactly the same way too. So I thought that was pretty interesting. What did you like about the opening scenes the most?
Well, I liked I just enjoyed kind of seeing him bird's eye view, fly on the wall, where he was like dancing and just going about his day alone. I also thought it was really interesting. Okay, bear with me. Is suffering the key to consciousness for the hosts? Okay, and the reason I ask that is because for the Delos robot host to not malfunction, did William have to tell him all this bad stuff like your daughter's dead, your son's dead, everybody's dead, your wife's dead, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I
and
think
then and then after that he kind of got out of the stuttering, and I mean he started tearing up the room. But
yeah. Apart from not being able to put words together, it was like it was very human reaction, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So was that the key to getting him over that plateau that they were talking about?
Very interesting.
I think it's very interesting.
I just want to point out also just how evil William comes across in those scenes too, you know?
I think he's the big bad, but that's a whole other story.
It's interesting you say that because I want to mention something later on in the show where there's a good deed that some are calling. So we'll talk about that.
Wait, can I just say, I'm also wondering what disease Delos had because they never say it.
See, we were talking about this backstage before. I just assumed it was cancer, but it probably goes a bit deeper than that.
Yeah. Because would he have defunded cancer research in whatever year this is?
It's very possible,
I suppose.
I think the main gist of that, it totally went over my head, but the main gist of that is to tell the audience like, hey, this is a disease that we're not very familiar with. It does. Also, you wanted to talk about this. I was very happy.
Yes. Elsie's back.
Elsie's
Yay!
back.
There's more swearing in the show, and we're all going to be happy about it.
Yeah.
What were they building here if not hosts?
Same hardware, but the code is different. The language, not code at all. Not really.
Yeah, also I feel like she took Bernard being a host really well. She's just like, damn, okay, let's do this.
Yeah, especially considering that he tried to kill her. But they always had a great relationship, and I think she understands the fact that Ford had so much influence on everything in the park. So I think they're good, but Bernard's lying to her right off the bat. You know, he remembers killing all these people, doesn't tell her. So that's interesting. So the Man in Black's good deed, we spoke about it a little bit before. That was one of my favorite moments, just because those flashback scenes of him with Mr. Delos, you just see you can see him transforming kind of into this bad, evil person that he eventually becomes in the Man in Black. But the good deed is when his friend is kidnapped by the Confederados and he forces his wife to walk over with that little shot of nitro. I just love that he's like, you know what? what I'm doing, it might not be the best thing. It might be pretty bad, and I'm not going to let my friend die here or to have his wife kill him because it kind of reminded him
Of his own wife.
of his exactly
His own daughter, yeah.
Yeah, and I liked the whole forcing him to drink the nitro, shooting him in the head, and his head exploding because I mean a little dark. But it's HBO, it has to be violent. And it reminded me of season 1 when they fill those dead bodies with all that nitro and they put him on like the wagon, send the wagon on down, shoots it, explosion. So it was a nice little callback to season 1, I
Teddy
think.
should have killed that guy is basically my point.
Yeah,
of that story.
yeah, totally.
He's done.
And I'll mention this, you had predicted it, I had predicted it. I think a lot of people predicted it, but yes, the mystery woman is, dun dun dun, William's daughter.
Big surprise.
So yeah, big surprise. I was pretty happy that it happened because it's gonna push the story along very well.
Hi, Dad.
Okay, so we're gonna talk about some of the things the audience might have missed.
I probably missed these things too.
I think we miss a lot, but these are at least things we caught that we should tell the audience. So the double hexagons. They made another appearance tonight. The first time we saw it was in the season premiere. It was with Bernard and Charlotte in that bunker. We see her at the computer and there's like interlocking hexagons. We didn't really pay any attention to it. But then when William's daughter shows up, she has that little book. She's very secretive of it. She opens it up and on the map she has that little thing drawn on. And again today, Bernard is with Elsie, and they find the secret bunker in that cave, and as they enter, there's a big like silver sliding door, and on it the hexagons are there with the number 12 in the middle. And I mean, we assume that it's bunker number 12, and it's part of this whole experiment for immortality, perhaps?
Oh,
has
come
something
on.
to
That's
do
my
with that.
prediction. You can't.
Yes, but we'll let you talk about it. I'm gonna tease it a little bit. So I think some people might have missed that. I think as the show goes on,
definitely
it's
missed
going to be a bit more obvious. But remember that, guys. So yeah, and that's basically what I
That's
think
your
the
thing.
audience missed. What
Okay.
about you?
Well, so you know that part where they're with the Ghost Nation, and
Yes.
there's that couple, and she's like, "Oh, you had to have your, your fantasy experience." Well, that's the same couple that was in the pilot, I think, where they, that
Oh,
guy
right.
shot Armistice maybe,
Yeah,
and Hector.
they were doing Lee's kind of storyline, and they just kind of went
And
completely
he
off the book.
and Lee was waiting for that speech to happen, and then they just shot him.
Yeah.
So it's the same couple, which indicates to me
Yeah.
that in the timeline where they're with the Ghost Nation
Yeah.
and the pilot are not actually that far apart because they're still at the
Wow.
park.
Oh,
right?
that's so true.
so weird, eh?
Yeah, and they're still in the costume too, aren't
Yeah.
they? Yeah, that's a
So,
good point.
Like, I don't know what that means, but it means something.
It means something. And that's a little bit more clarity when it comes to the timeline anyways, because especially with Bernard,
God.
his head's all jumbled up. You're not exactly sure what's the present, what's the past or the future. It's all mixed up. So that's
I
very
would love
interesting.
to try to draw this, and I would really fail. Miserably.
Yeah, so would I. So would I.
Who said anything about a good deed? You wanted me to play your game. I'm gonna play it to the bone.
Okay, so now we're at the big part of the show.
I'm scared.
The predictions. The predictions. It's always a little scary to bring them up, but we're gonna do it anyways. We have to. So mine is, the show has talked about the hive mind before and how hosts sometimes share.
A hive
Yes.
is the shape of a hexagon.
Whoa.
Bam.
Mind blown. What does that mean?
I don't know.
Oh my God,
Talk
I need to
about it.
change my prediction here right now. That's pretty crazy.
I know.
Okay, but the show's talked about hive mind, how hosts kind of share same ideas and stuff like that. So my prediction is that Ford, we've seen him talk to William throughout this season so far. Never as Ford, well, once as little child Ford, and then as other children characters and stuff like that.
It's interesting they're all kids.
Yeah, it's very interesting. But the idea, I think most of the audience thinks it's just kind of like a program programmed into these hosts that are just there to kind of give William hints or just to like tease him a little bit. But what I think, it's not a program. I think that he has perfected the whole immortality thing. I'll let you talk about it a little bit too. I won't steal your prediction, but I think he's kind of mastered this and has implanted his consciousness into many hosts around the park so that he can kind of live forever. And I think, I think that's it.
Okay, so my
Yeah.
prediction also has to do with that like consciousness marble, let's call
Yeah.
it.
Oh, that little red
Yeah,
ball.
I feel like there's an actual name for it, but I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Anyway, so originally my theory was Ford. Because, but then I'm like, that's kind of boring. It doesn't really open up any, any different.
new avenues or-
exactly.
yeah,
So
yeah.
let's say the Man in Black. What does that mean? What
Do
could
tell.
Yeah. Okay. So either the Man in Black is a host and doesn't know it, or he's a human-host hybrid and he's part of the experiment. So he's succeeding where Delos failed.
Okay. There you
And Ford's narrative is the Man in Black's trial run to see how long his body lasts and what it's capable of. Okay? And then if it works,
Wow.
Delos can officially get into the immortality biz.
Oh my God.
Okay?
My
so
jaw
maybe,
like dropped.
I know.
And then dropped even more.
And then maybe Delos had been, maybe Ford had been sabotaging the Delos experience so William wouldn't know, so that he wouldn't know when he was a host that he was a host. Yeah?
There's a lot of layers to this
And
one,
then
Rebecca. Wow.
William's daughter keeps coming back to the park to check on him. Okay?
That would
And
explain why
she
she's there.
Also knows that they're gathering data, so she doesn't want to sleep with hosts. And I think I'm done.
Yes, and that's also why she would know these hexagonal labs, for lack of a better term, at this
Sure.
point. Very interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
Lots of layers.
Yeah, and it all ties into the show's theme of legacy, which can be summed up in a quote from this week's episode. You only live as long as the last person who remembers you.
But some men are better off dead.
Wow. I'm pretty sure you blew a lot of our audience minds with that prediction.
blew my own mind.
There's a lot of layers to that one. So guys, thanks for watching. If you like this, please tune back Monday. Again, we do this every Monday for Westworld, and we do it for a lot of other TV stuff too. So please subscribe to MojoTalks, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.